Blacklist Hunter here, and today we're going to talk about Illumi Zoldyck and analyze his strength compared to the pro hunters. Now there is zero doubt that Illumi is a truly strong Nen user, and unlike the aura force that dwells in good people, this dude draws his power from the darkness of his soul. And since Nen is basically soul and willpower, we can be certain that Illumi's aura is incredibly powerful because his willpower for evil is truly scary. Now remember what Satoge said about Hisoka in the Hunter exam. Satoge stated that Hisoka is right up their league, and Satoge was referring to Menchi himself and Bohara, but the only difference was that Hisoka prefers to dwell and strike from the shadows. That's the difference between Satoge and Hisoka. Both operate in different realms. They draw their power from different sources. Even in the Heaven's Arena arc, a pro hunter like Wing was uncomfortable when observing Hisoka's evil aura. Now to be fair, depending on what a person you are and what job you do, your friends are probably going to be on the same trade. A thief stays with a thief, a cook with a cook, and so on. Hisoka stays with Illumi, and he knows very well that Illumi is very strong, dangerous, and perhaps on the same level or even stronger than Hisoka. Now you have pro hunters like Menchi, for example, who have achieved a single star in their field, but she is still not a match for a Nen user like Illumi Zoldyck. And there is no need to even go deep in this topic because it's clear as day. I feel like Illumi would end Menchi in 5 minutes or so. We know that in shonen manga, those characters that haven't displayed too much of their abilities are silently the most powerful and most competent. The biggest compliment to Illumi's strength is that Hisoka met 3 Zodiacs and he rated them lower than Illumi. Hisoka can accurately estimate a Nen user's power because he has confronted many strong fighters from all kinds of personalities and walks of life. Hisoka has probably even ended pro hunters, so he has this accurate hunch for estimated strength just by looking at a person. However, for Illumi, the dude Hisoka didn't even need to stare at him. He just felt a presence behind his back and he said 9.5, which is insane. This surprised Hisoka so much he turned around and saw it's Illumi. So Illumi has just too much aura. Keep in mind that Hisoka had stared at every pro hunter at the election and most of them were below 5 points, which leads us to realize that most hunters aren't actually strong combatants. Hisoka states that there isn't much going on even amongst pro hunters, meaning that they aren't tough at all. And Hisoka wanted to go after the Zodiacs next, and that's where Illumi shows up. This is Togashi telling us that Illumi is truly a force to be reckoned with. So the Zodiacs were handpicked by Netero, and without a doubt each and every single one of them has an incredibly unique Nen ability. However, I also consider Illumi's ability to be top tier and unique, as Illumi not only is an extremely proficient manipulator, he has a vast aura reserve, he should also be incredibly strong physically, and without a doubt his ability is a one-shot insta-kill. Illumi single-handedly eliminated the hunters that were going after him, tens of them. And do you remember Boshidora? Well, this dude Boshidora, he was a 1-star blacklist hunter of the pure paladin squad, and he got cooked by Hisoka. So a awarded hunter like Boshidora, specifically of the blacklist field, meaning capturing criminals, a pro hunter, and he still wasn't a match for Hisoka. If Hisoka cooked Boshidora, that means that Illumi can end Boshidora as well. So this proves to us that Illumi is far stronger than your average awarded 1-star or double-star hunter. However, we have to realize that not every hunter is a fighter. You have characters like Cheadle, a triple-star hunter whom probably isn't a combat-oriented Nen user. Although it's true that Zodiacs used to spar with Netero, so without a doubt the Zodiacs are some of the strongest and capable Nen users in the entire world. So let's set this straight. Illumi is around the level of Hisoka, and Hisoka is a monster. Considering the circumstances, Illumi can manage to assassinate Hisoka. Amateur hunters aren't a match for Illumi, as he ended tens of them who were trying to stop him during the chairman election. Pro hunters like Satoge, Menchi, Bohara, Lipo, I feel like Illumi is one step above them. However, Satoge or Lipo probably can put up a good fight, but ultimately get defeated, aka die in combat. Now you have incredibly skilled high-level Nen users like hunters like Morel, Biscuit, Kite, who are on the level of Illumi. But if you say that Illumi is around the level of Hisoka, there is a good chance that Illumi can manage to defeat these characters in the fight depending on the environment. I feel like Illumi is incredibly high skilled at using Nen, and he backs it up with speed, physical strength, and high level strategy. Although Illumi looks like he has no emotions or soul soul for that matter, we cannot deny that Illumi is smart, and he definitely has fought high-end skilled nen users before. Now regarding Zodiacs, I feel like the only characters that Illumi cannot defeat in any way, shape or form are Jing, Borobai and Power Stone. I know this is a strong statement, but let me add characters like Sayu, who has a very unique nen combat ability with the monkeys. However, one thing we have to realize about Illumi is that he is a very special nen user. He is part of the most infamous family in the entire Hunter x Hunter world. His upbringing has shaped him into a formidable foe. There is a good chance that Illumi was trained by Zeno or even Maha himself, or Zig, whichever you prefer. I also am of the opinion that Illumi hasn't revealed the true extent of his power. Other hunters like Shu, Knuckle, they have no chance against Illumi. Characters like Phaeton, I feel like Phaeton is behind Illumi in terms of sheer aura and combat capacity. And evidence we got that Illumi is one hell of an ominous force is that the aura he unleashed after witnessing Alucard's power is probably one of the most evil auras we've seen. I feel that if Killua saw that aura, he would finally equal it to Pito's aura. That was one of the most powerful unleashing of terrifying aura we've seen in all of manga. Illumi is probably the most evil and most proficient at using his category, meaning manipulation, that we've seen in the entire series. This is all I had to say about Illumi. I've made a video on Illumi. This is all I had to say about Illumi in this topic, but I was rewatching the scene when Hisoka evaluates the Zodiacs, and I thought, why not talk about Illumi again? So I'll see you in the next Hunter x Hunter video. Subscribe.